Hold it. All right. Well, this is going to be interesting. All right. So, we're going to start from the top. I'm going to take a drink.
Good idea.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Gaming Effect. We are here with episode 5. I'm your co-host, Alex, aka Soldier First Class.
And I'm your co-host, Corey, aka Dookie03.
And we are up above the 150 plays mark. We actually just hit 160, I believe, on Spotify, iTunes, and those platforms that are tracked. We also have been doing pretty well on YouTube as well, so just want to give a shout out to the people that are listening and watching on all the platforms and stuff. Really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Don't forget, if you are listening or watching, be sure to give us a rating on those platforms. It really helps get the word out there about us and gets us viewed a little bit more. We actually just hit 10 5-star reviews on Spotify. So
hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, so it's been pretty good. You guys have been really supporting us, and we really appreciate it. So just want to give a special shout out to you guys, and thanks for supporting,
watching, and or listening.
Yes, thanks for sharing with whoever will listen or doesn't, whatever. But yeah, so today's episode we are going to have, the main topic is going to be comfort games. We're also going to be doing our episode 5 Q&A session. We're going to have some general questions that we kind of want to answer, and then we have some 10 or 11 viewer submitted questions that we're going to be answering as well. So thanks for all the questions you guys submitted to us on all platforms. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I gotta say, so I wanted to do a Q&A episode at some point, and I figured it would probably be best if we waited till like episode 5 or something like that, just so that we have a bit of people like that are actually watching and listening. And then I figured this would be a good idea for you guys to get to know us a little bit better. So
right, because like we don't want to just be voices or images on a screen. We want to get to know you guys, have you guys get to know us, kind of figure out what we like, what we dislike. Yeah. And that way, like,
who we are.
Right. And, because we may not like everything you like, or we might not dislike everything you dislike, but we can kind of give you an idea of what you'll probably hear on the podcast, or, even surprise you maybe. So,
yeah, exactly. And I thought, to keep the answers extra honest, we will be taking a hit of some legal greens in between every second question. So keeping our answers extra honest.
Yeah, maybe a little too honest, but
we'll see what happens when we get there.
By the end of this, you're either gonna love us or you're probably gonna be like, what the fuck is wrong with these two? But
should we swing into what we've been playing and all that now?
Yeah, so you go ahead, because I've got mine's gonna be a little bit longer.
Okay, I've got a couple games on the go actually right now. We've been playing Legend of Legaia, kind of. Are you still further than me then right now, or am I past where you are now?
As of your last stream of it, yes, I'm still a little bit farther.
Oh, okay. I'm in Sol. I just got to I'm fighting that big knight dude at the top of Sol. He's like, you're taking that plant to get rid of the mist. The mist is my reason for being, bitch. And he is like, because he just wants to fight the rest of his life, right?
Okay, yeah.
Family got killed.
Then I am just past where you're at.
Oh, okay.
You've actually pretty much caught up to me.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm digging it, honestly. I think we talked about it a little bit last podcast, but I've played a little bit of Legend of Legaia at a friend's house, off and on when he played through it. But there's a lot of stuff that I missed, and there's a lot of stuff that I did see, and I'm in the stuff that I've never seen before now. So it's pretty cool. Like I remember loving the game, but I'm loving it even more because it really is like a first playthrough, even though I've seen like a good chunk of the game.
You're experiencing it. Like you're not just watching
firsthand,
it. Or, right.
When I was playing it with my buddy, it was almost like you know when like you and your wife are like watching a series together and then you're gone for like 4 days and she sneaks ahead and keeps watching it.
Yes.
And then you're like, fuck. And then you're like, well, I don't want to go back. And then you just jump back in and you try to figure out what the hell happened. That's how it was when I was like watching him play.
Yeah.
But playing it firsthand is just, it's so much better.
Well, it's like I beat it a long, long time ago, and I actually don't remember how the game ends.
Oh, okay.
So like past where we're at right now is kind of, it's not new territory, but it's like very
hazy. It gets hazy.
Yeah. So we're getting into territory like where I have not really remembered how the game goes.
Okay.
So I'm excited to get to the ending and see how it's going to go because I don't actually remember how it went.
Like, I don't remember any of this third continent at all. Like, this third country. I remember the second one with, like, the islands and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, I feel like everything from here on out is going to be new. Unless there's, like, a coastal town. I remember there being, like, a coastal town. And I don't think I've hit that yet. So maybe it's in there, or maybe I'm misremembering something.
Well, the place that we're at right now, actually, is the last time I played it, which was several years ago. So I've beaten it once. I restarted a playthrough a long time ago, and then I never finished it. This will be my first full playthrough since
the game probably came out.
Right. So, it's like I said, it's kind of a not new territory, but it feels like new territory for me.
Yeah.
So,
and then I've also been playing Dragon Quest Heroes 2. Me and my buddy Fates are playing through that kind of together. I'm doing New Game Plus, so like every enemy's dying in like 2 hits. But it's been a blast. I streamed today to try and today is Saturday?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So I streamed today to try and get caught up to where my buddy Fates is, but I'm still a little bit behind, so I'm gonna have to try and just chug through when we play next time. But it's a great game. Like all those Dynasty Warrior style kind of spin-off games all seem very similar, but this one's very different. It's very like kind of like open world, and then you still have your battles, but you have like regular battles on like the overworld and stuff, and it's got a good story and all that,
right?
And job class system, so I'm digging that. And then the last game I'm playing, I mean Theta Rhythm obviously, but we're going to be playing Double Dragon Gaiden, and I'm super excited for that because I've been a Double Dragon fan since fucking I was born pretty much. So it's going to be awesome to kind of go back and play one of the newer games in that series, and it just looks like it's going to be chock full of nostalgia boners. And I feel like this is like the second coming of the beat 'em up, like with Streets of Rage 4, and then we had that TMNT Shredder's Revenge,
which was awesome, by the way.
Which was also really awesome. And then we got Double Dragon coming back. Like
party, dude.
Yeah, you just mash that button the whole playthrough. But I think we're in like the second coming of the beat 'em up, and I'm super here for it, man.
Yeah, is that new, that Double Dragon Gaiden, or is
it just came out, I think Friday, this past Friday or
that's
something like that. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I've been playing the hell out of it. I'm already out of Act 1, and dude, like if you are into turn-based games, this game is incredible. It is like, I mean, it is literally Dungeons and Dragons, but in video game form. And I know we talked a little bit about it last time because I'd played early access, but now I'm playing the full game. And there are things that like I didn't see in early access because like I played it for like 1 or 2 days and didn't really fully get into it because I knew it didn't transfer over to the full game. So I was waiting for the full game to really dive into it. And there's some really cool stuff. And there's also some like really humorous stuff, like dialogue options. There is like cutscenes that are really funny. One that I hit today that I could not stop laughing at was you walk into this village and it's like this rundown village and there's like goblins everywhere and bugbears and ogres and stuff like that. And you walk in and this bugbear is just giving it to this ogre. And
like fucking it or fighting it?
Yeah,
fucking it?
Yeah.
What?
So it's this big fat ogre chick and this bugbear, and he's just giving it to her, right? And you walk in and he like slowly backs out of her, you know, and he's like,
oh my
he's
God.
like, what are you doing here, man? Like, he's just fucking pissed that you just
holy fuck.
Yeah. So then like you end up getting into a fight with him with the ogre and the bugbear, and it's
cock
fucking
out still or
no, but it's dude, it's fucking hilarious. And then there's one where like you're traveling with this guy, and there's a guy that's like trying to hunt him.
Okay.
And he doesn't know that the guy traveling with you is the guy he's looking for. So he tells you all about this guy, like, which you already know, but he tells you all about this guy. You like basically get him to explain everything, what his motives are, all this other stuff. And then you just turn and there's a possible dialogue option. Yeah. And you're literally like, oh, hey, guy, what do you think of that? And then he's like, oh, well, you know, we could fight or we could kill this guy or whatever, you know, and you could choose to like kill him or you can just let him leave or whatever. But like, it's really cool that they have all these different options where, you know, you might get into a fight and you might do like dialogue options, right? And it could either turn into a fight, or you can like talk your way out of it, or you can accidentally say the wrong thing and get into a fight, or you can say like, you can just straight up be like, I want to fight you or whatever. Like there's so many different options and so many different ways to approach. And like
everything,
and like a lot of things are done on dice rolls. So you'll have like, it'll tell you at the left-hand side of the dialogue option if there's a chance that you're going to have to roll a dice for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so then like it rolls the d20, you get certain bonuses and stuff to it, or certain negatives depending on your status and stuff like that. And like if you're looking for, like if you're a turn-based fan and you're looking for a turn-based game to get into, this I think is the perfect game. You have plenty of loot to like equip yourself with. It's a tabletop RPG in video game form is exactly what it is. And it's basically like create your own adventure. Like there's a base story, but like it's create your own adventure, do encounters how you want to do them, build your party members how you want. Like I'm cross-classing some of my party members and stuff. So there's like there's all these different things you can do, and it's so much fun, dude. Like all I've been doing the last 2 days has just been playing Baldur's Gate 3. And it's just because like, and I'll even like do a save right before I get into an encounter, and I'll be like, okay, if I'm trying to play a certain type of character, right, and I mess up a dialogue option, I can load that save, go back into that conversation, and try again. Or like, if I don't realize like this dialogue option's gonna lead to a fight, then I will reload the save, go in there, choose a different dialogue option, or it's just a really good way to figure out all your different outcomes and stuff. So like it's an insanely phenomenal game. I'm super glad that I picked it up, because originally I wasn't going to, because I had no interest in it. Well then I'd been seeing a bunch of stuff on it, and my buddy Craig loves Baldur's Gate 3. He's been playing early access since it came out, and so he ran through early access with me, and it was a lot of fun. So I decided to pick it up, and like I hope you pick it up, because I'm really excited to see like how you approach things, how like we would approach things as a group and stuff like that. And you can even like if you're playing with other people, you control whoever initiates the combat or the conversation is the person that does the talking
choices and stuff.
But your party can actually vote on the choice they want.
Oh, cool.
Now
you don't have to follow it kind of thing, but it'll show.
Yeah, you don't have to follow, but people can vote on what they think is the best outcome, and then you can kind of pick what you want based off of what they do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think you would really like it, especially it being turn based and in how versatile it is and how like create your own story is. Like it is legit like the most role playing
Oh yeah.
out there.
Yeah, like I know I just watched like when my buddy DG Online streamed Baldur's Gate 2 for like a year and a half. It those games are like they really thrive on having like so many different options, and all those options lead to a whole other different like bunch of branches in the path.
Right.
Like the crazy thing is like I know with like D&D, if you're the DM or whatever, you've got to write story based on like possible options and stuff. But if you're the DM and you and your buddies come over once a week or something, you're basically figuring it out week to week what these options could be, right? So you can change them. The undertaking of doing an entire like video game length story with all the different characters you can encounter, having all these different options, like the undertaking of like coming up with all those options, putting them in there for every choice, every decision is just unbelievable. Hey?
Yeah, it's insane too because like you could go through and not meet a character, and that can change like the flow of how everything goes. That and like so it's cool because I would love to see like the flow chart. If anybody,
Yeah. I bet.
like,
I wonder if there is one. Like that would be so cool. Even to see. I bet there's some of Baldur's Gate 2. There's got to be because that game's been out for like
I would love
over
to
10
see.
years now.
I would love to see like if the developers had one during workflow purposes,
Yeah.
like what the flow chart of how the story was going to go, depending on like because if you choose, like, there's 5 different options. Each one will have a different outcome and a different dialogue, like different resulting dialogue. So it's like, what was the flow? Because like if you don't do this quest, right? Yeah. And then this quest is unlocked because you did that one. You never see this quest line. Like here on this flowchart. It's just not there. Yeah. So I think it'd be cool like if they did like a documentary about this game and they just to show you the flow of how the game went.
Yeah, it'd be super cool. And like I've played games, like I'm not a big Western RPG guy because usually there's too much to do and then I do not play the story or anything and get lost and then end up dropping the game after like 30 hours of accomplishing nothing. But the ones I've played the most of would be probably Mass Effect 2, Fable, the original Fable, and what was that Star Wars one? Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
I played that for the first time, I think, was it last year or the year before? And those games definitely have like those options and stuff. But it's just so much on a larger scale when it comes to the Baldur's Gate series.
Well, it's like, have you ever played like Heavy Rain or Detroit Become Human? Any of those?
Yeah, I've played
exact same
Rain,
thing.
Yeah.
If you like miss a button press, or you choose a different dialogue option, or you don't look at a certain item, or you don't do this, or you don't do that, like the flow of the game completely changes.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah,
so
which adds so much replayability. To
right,
these games
and that's
too, right?
that's why this game is going to have so much replayability because like Baldur's Gate 3. Like, you can choose what type of character you want to be. So if you want to be a dickhead and just kill everything, you can. If you want to go through and be more passive and try to talk your way out of certain situations, you can. If you kind of want to be like... And the class options are huge. Like, you know, you have Paladin, you have Barbarian, you have Bard, you have like... And each class has like different responses to different things. So like, I'm a Ranger. Right. So like, if it comes to like nature or animals or anything like that, I will have a special dialogue option specific to Ranger that will respond to that character's question or dialogue option that they chose or whatever.
So it's kind of funny. I remember last podcast, you were saying how you were trying to like talk to the animals and tame them and stuff. And I just wanted, it reminded me, and I don't know why I didn't say anything at the time, but when me and my buddies would play D&D, they would get so fucking annoyed because I was that guy that had to tame everything, and like there was like this I don't know D&D monster names all that well, but there was like this one-eyed big fucking tentacle creature thing.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I bet I can't think of the name of it.
And we fought it, and I was doing like all these dialogue tests and like trying to tame this thing, and they're like you can't tame it, just fight it. And I was like, I want to. I remember
that monster's actually in Baldur's Gate 3.
Is it?
Yeah.
I bet like almost all of them are.
Yeah, it's based off of 5th edition of D&D.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I remember taming a goblin. We were in like this goblin's base. So I had a wolf and a goblin, and they just followed me everywhere.
I did, so in early access I did Beastmaster as my subclass or whatever. Yeah. And that allows you to have like a summonable animal.
Okay.
And like it was like a wolf, bear, all that. Like we talked about this last time.
I'd probably do that.
Yeah, see, I thought about that, but then I decided to go Gloomstalker, because Gloomstalker is like a kind of a assassin type bow wielding ranger.
Oh,
and
okay.
It has some really cool abilities, like being able to fire, multiple abilities instead of just your one normal attack. You get bonus actions and stuff like that you can use because of Gloomstalker. So there's a lot of replayability, a lot of versatility. There's a lot of customization. This is like awesome. The perfect RPG for RPG players.
Yeah. My only issue is it's not on PS4. Apparently, it's only on PS5. So
really, see, I didn't know that.
Neither did I until somebody in my Discord told me. I think it was yesterday or the day before. So
that sucks.
I'll have to wait until I have more than one reason to get a PS5. Because right now, this is the only game I would buy a PS. Like I would get or play on a PS5. Right?
What about Ratchet and Clank?
No. It's not worth it. I love Ratchet and Clank, don't get me wrong, but I'm not gonna fucking buy a PS5 to play a Ratchet and Clank game.
Right, I got you. Oh man. All right, so now we did have a question about this, so we'll kind of tie in this question into our main topic. So Tony from Discord, he asked, in my experience, every gamer has at least 2 to 3 games they will always go back to when they either don't have anything new or they're just not feeling any of the titles they have. What are your 2 to 3 go-to games for all occasions? So we're going to tie this in with our main topic, which was comfort games.
Yeah.
I think number 1 for me might be obvious, but it might surprise some people. So go ahead and I'll let you start. What's your number 1?
Number 1, it's honestly my number 1 and number 2 are tied, I would say. It would be like Mega Man 6. I'm gonna go with number 1, Mega Man 6. Like okay. I'll come home if it's been like a long shitty day or a long shitty week, I'll come home and I will fire up my PS4 and play Mega Man Legacy Collection, put on Mega Man 6, and just play through the whole game because it's just like probably the Mega Man game I played the most as a kid. And there's so many, it's the only NES Mega Man game where there's like multiple routes through the stages. So you can kind of play it different if you feel like playing it different that night, or you can play it the way you always play it and use your different, you got the rush adapter upgrades. So you've got like this power punch that can break blocks and it's super strong, but you're less mobile. You have less range and stuff. And then you've got like a jetpack that lets you like fly around a little bit, but you can't do a charge shot and you can't do a slide. So there's a bunch of different things you can do to like change kind of the way you play the game. So I love it for that. And it's just comfort food for me because I just played it so much as a kid.
Yeah, I would say so. I might actually have 2. I think you're right. I think I have one that's tied for number 1, and it's not one that I think people will probably think of. My number 1's Final Fantasy X.
Okay.
Yeah, like it is one of those games where like the music, the calm atmosphere, the story is just something that I can if I come home from a shit day or something, like we said, or like nothing's just hitting, like I'll pop in Final Fantasy X and I'll, run through as far as I want to and just enjoy the music and the atmosphere of the game and it's one game that I go back to a lot. Like I probably, if I had to put a number on how many hours I probably have in that game across all platforms, all releases, everything, I would say it's probably my number 2 game in playtime under 14.
I was gonna say that game definitely is a vibe. Hey, like
Right.
there are some Final Fantasy games and just games really that are a vibe. But for Final Fantasy, I would say like 5 is probably the first one that's like, because it's just goofy. It's so like just fun loving and just excellent. Plus dark at times. And then I would say 7's definitely got a vibe. Like it's got that dingy kind of sometimes very serious, but sometimes very goofy kind of vibe to it. And then 8's really got a vibe. And I would say 10 is the next one. And then after that, they don't really have, you know what I mean? They're not as like, when you're in the world of Spira, you know what I mean? Like, and when you're in Final Fantasy VIII's world, and like, it's just the ambient music, the lighting, everything about it. Like those worlds have their own feel to them, no matter what part of that world you're in.
Well, and they have
kind of got its own.
They have some of the best soundtracks in the series too.
Yeah, that might be what it is a big part of it.
Right, and that's what it is for me. Like hearing Besaid Island, or To Xanarkand, or it just has this vibe to it, and it's a special game to me anyway, because it used to be my number 1 favorite game of all time, and like it has this. For me, it's special because I played it and beat it for the first time when my grandma died, so it kind of like helped me get through that. So it's always kind of been like a place of comfort for me, regardless of what's going on.
It's kind of funny because like you've mentioned some moments that hit hard in Final Fantasy 14 when your dog passed away?
Yeah.
And then you got Final Fantasy 10 when your grandma passed away. And it's just so it's kind of like I don't know if funny's the word given the context, but it's kind of funny because like when my dad passed away, there's all these like great JRPGs that I could have played to get my mind off things and to just like focus and burn my time and life into to get through that. But not the one I played. It's not a bad game, but it's not a great game. And have you ever played it's that Dragon Ball Z JRPG on the Super Famicom, and you use like cards to battle and stuff?
Oh, can't say I have.
I think it's called like Super Saiyan Densetsu or something like that.
Oh, I think I've heard of it.
I locked myself in my room for probably like a month and a half to 2 months and just played. And the thing is it tells from the Saiyan saga up to the end of the Frieza saga. So, but it's like a regular JRPG. So it's not like a lot of the other Dragon Ball games where it's like, it's the Goku and Vegeta show now. Because you can grind Yamcha and try to like fight like the Ginyu Force with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like I love grinding and I love Yamcha. So I just remember putting hours and hours just grinding Yamcha and like Tien and stuff. Because if they don't die, if you play it and you aren't a grind whore like me, you'll play the Nappa fight and those characters will probably die, and then you'll play through the rest of the game without them, kind of thing, right? But if you're a grind whore, you can actually keep them alive and continue with them to like Namek and stuff like that. So I just that was the game that got me through like a lot of hard times.
What's funny,
it's kind of off topic, but I
not really. I mean, what's cool about comfort games is that it doesn't matter what kind of game it is. It doesn't even have to be your normal play game.
Yeah,
like,
I guess. Yeah,
like it's just a game that you play that it doesn't have to be mindless, but it almost feels like that's what you're going for when you're trying to.
A lot of times, yeah,
right, because you're winding down from something, or you're just in this void of like you don't know what to do, or
it's
whatever.
Almost like a meditative state, like grinding to me.
Yeah, well, just comfort games in general.
Oh yeah.
Like so, my number 2, which is actually probably tied with 10.
Yeah.
Super Mario World.
Okay, I can see that.
That is a game.
It's an easy game to pick up and play and put down and then pick up again later, you know?
Right. And if you wanted to beat that game in an hour, you could, because like there's the shortcuts and all the routes and stuff. Like, you know, so if it's something that you're just looking to play for like an hour or so, it's the perfect game. Like,
it's a good game.
Right. And it's a very, you know, the music, obviously, you know,
more upbeat,
right, the colors, the, you know, Yoshi is in the game, like there's all these different things that just culminate in being a really good comfort game.
Yeah, it is a good chill game. I'm not I'm like the biggest probably anti Mario guy, but there are like a couple Mario games that I can't deny, and Super Mario World is by far the best Mario game. Like,
well, that's also, and this might give the listeners some insight into you. You're actually not that great at 3D platformers because of like depth perception, right?
Yeah.
So
there's only a couple I can play, and it's usually when they like make something to make it easier to like land, I guess. So like Spyro and Ratchet and Clank, and that's pretty much it.
Crash 4, now it is a harder game than usual, but Crash 4 actually put a circle underneath Crash. So anytime he jumps, you can see where you're going to land.
Okay, that's nice. One thing though that kind of gets me is like how far. Like I can't see how far a jump is. Like I don't know. Like I have no 3D depth perception in video games, right? So
I don't have depth perception problems, and I think that like sometimes those 3D platformers are just super hard to gauge.
Yeah, it is. It's super tough. But Ratchet and Clank almost has like that mini jump at the end, so you can correct at the last second. And then Spyro, you're gliding, right? So you can kind of.
Well, and the good thing with Crash is like Crash will have like a double jump or something, you know. So you're not always.
Usually a double jump helps me like quite a bit.
Right. But what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Outrun, the arcade version. I'll either play it on the Saturn or I'll play it on the Switch because it's on the Switch now. It's a classic Sega arcade racing game, and it's not even a racing game, it's a driving game, and that is a very important fact because you're not racing other cars, you're just trying to drive to the end of the course, and there's a bunch of different paths you can take. I think, man, there's probably like 20 different routes you can take, but there's 5 or 6 different endings. There's like the A, B, C, D, E ending kind of thing, but then every time you turn, it changes. Like there's like a bunch of different branches and paths you can take and courses. That one, and then there's Outrun Coast to Coast 2006 or Outrun 2, whatever you want to call it. Those are like, those games are just excellent. The best racing / driving games, in my opinion, of all time. The drift mechanics are absolutely perfect in Outrun 2. And the arcade game is just chill as fuck. Like the music in those games is phenomenal, absolutely perfect for what the games are, driving and stuff like that. And it's just you're just going for a joyride basically, and you don't have to spend ass loads of money on gas. It honestly, it has that same feeling. Like, you know, when you first got like your drive, I don't know if that's what they do like there, but here, when you first get like your driver's license or you're like in high school in a small town, the best thing you do is just you and your buddies just hop in a car and you just drive around.
Oh yeah, right? We do that here too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like that same feeling, right? And you're just going for a cruise. And it's got like the do you know what like super scalers are? Where like it's like sprites that are far away and they're like blasting past you as you drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those, and it's just so relaxing to play. Definitely even better if you're hitting the old legal greens, if you know what I mean. So it's the Gessel greens. Is that what the chocobos?
Yeah.
How do you say it? Do they ever say it in any of the games? Is it pronounced Gessel or Gessel?
I think it's like I honestly don't know.
I always call it Gessel greens, but
yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, but there's just fantastic racing games to play, and the speed, the feel of speed in like Outrun 2 and Outrun Coast to Coast is is so well done as well. Like you can be drifting at like 300 kilometers an hour and you're just fucking blasting. They also have like bonus modes in that one where you have to stay in certain zones while drifting and stuff to like rack up points. And
yeah, they kind of had
fun fucking games.
They kind of had a similar thing in I want to say, was it Need for Speed? There was one where like drifting was like a big mechanic in it, and you could do like drift courses and stuff like that.
Remember like the Burnout games and
yes,
stuff too?
Dude,
Those
Burnout.
were fun.
Burnout used to be a comfort game for me when it was readily available. Well, I think it was Burnout 3 or something like that.
Yeah, they need to remake 3 because they keep putting like Paradise City, but it's not the same as any of the previous ones.
Did you ever play Flat Out?
Never heard of that one.
Flat Out is like a derby / racing game where you try to eject yourself out of the windshield.
What?
Yeah. So it's like a stunt driving kind of game, but like there's like these mini games that you can play where like I think there's one, it's like bowling, and you try to get up as fast as speed as you can, and then there's like an eject button where you just shoot your guy through the windshield.
That's hilarious.
And it like shoots into the bowling pins and stuff. Another really fun driving game that I really like that a lot of people have not heard of, surprisingly enough, even though it's part of a really famous driving game series, and it's Test Drive Eve of Destruction.
Okay.
And it's literally a demolition derby game. And I remember me and my buddies would play it on like, I think it was Xbox, and we would get like 4-player split screen going on my buddy's TV and just beat the shit out of each other in demolition derbies and stuff. And you can do like figure 8 races, you can do like where you shoot like exploding rubber chickens at each other, or like there was one where like you had to drive a hearse backwards, or like not reverse, but like the wrong way.
Oh, like into oncoming traffic,
right? And they had to destroy the hearse before you finished. I think it was like 3 laps.
And that's cool.
Yeah, and there was like
that sounds like a fun game.
It is a fun game. And then there was like a bus one where like it's the bus has to destroy the cars before the cars finish the race or whatever.
Okay.
And it's
sound good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, dude. It's another really good comfort game.
That's part of the Test Drive series?
Yeah, Test Drive Eve of Destruction.
Interesting.
It even has it even has a career mode.
Oh,
where you
that was such a popular
series
stuff in like the early PC gaming era. Like Test Drive, like 1 through 3 on like DOS and shit was like such a big deal back in the day.
Well, and
like,
Test Drive,
the most realistic driving game back then.
Test Drive was big on PlayStation 1 and 2 also.
Was it? I was just playing like Gran Turismo 1 and 2 on PS1.
Yeah, I think Test Drive Eve of Destruction was on PS2 and it was on original Xbox. And it was a lot of fun.
Remember, they aged like absolute diarrhea, but do you remember like playing a shitload of like Twisted Metal and stuff back in the day?
Yes.
Those games were so much fun, but if you go back and try to play them now, they're absolute dog shit.
Who was your driver?
I used, I think his name was Thumper, the purple car that shot like shockwaves out the front. It was like a pimp mobile kind of thing. And I would use either him or was it Axel, the guy with like the fucking...
That's my guy right there. Axel was my guy.
I would always use.
Yeah, Axel was my guy. There was like a motorcyclist too that I used.
Yeah,
I don't remember his
Grim,
name.
I think his name was.
Yeah, I think it was Grim.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new show yet?
No, I haven't.
I haven't seen it either. I've been hearing good things though.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm really bad for like watching shows. Like I don't.
Yeah, same.
I don't watch shows very often, so it's like I'm trying to watch that Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai, and I am kind of like getting further along now. Like I'm on like episode 43 finally. But I mean, it takes me like over a year to watch like an anime season. Like
I feel you, because like I feel like I have such a hard time like making time to watch like shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And movies especially. Like I haven't movies. I might watch 5 movies a year now.
Yeah, same.
Maybe not even that.
Yeah, same.
So my third one, this is my third and final game, and I'm almost thinking it's more of a series than just one standard game. And me and you actually played it together, so this might actually be your number 3 as well. The UFC games.
Oh, those are good too to wind down.
I literally keep the UFC 4 on my PlayStation 5 just so I can hop on, fight a couple Kumite matches.
Yeah, and it's just a blast to play, man.
Yeah, because it's like it's just a fighting game. Like you're just having fun with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 3. I love it.
My number 3 is a bit of a twist.
Bubsy
right?
3D.
No. That's a pain game.
Oh, Dragon Ball Sagas then. Okay.
No, that's also a pain game. When I need to feel pain.
When I need to live again.
Games. Yeah. No, Blitzball. I literally keep Final Fantasy X on my PS4 at all times so that I can fire up, play a couple fucking games of Blitzball. I love Blitzball so much.
You sadistic bastard.
And dude, it's so good. I swear. I got to make a tutorial video on how to play Blitzball because I swear at least 50% of the people that hate Blitzball do not know how to play Blitzball.
Right. Well, and it's once you get to a certain point, it's pretty much automatic. Like if you have Titus, Brother, and Waka on your team,
I usually put them as my forwards.
Yeah, and I always have that. I want to say it's the Guado Keeper. I can't think of it. It's like Zav Guado or something like that.
I used to have, yeah.
Or the Albed Keeper. He's one of the best in the game.
I have some chick in my goalie now. Right now. But I'm on I'm probably on my 32nd season of Blitzball. Like,
nice.
I'm just always playing, you know.
The best part about Blitzball is the reward you get for Waka, where it's like I think it's called attack reels, and it does 99,999 damage 12 times if you get it right.
Yeah. So you want to know how much I love Blitzball? I have never used that move. I've played Blitzball for billions of hours, but I've never actually. I probably have it, but I've never used it. What I do is I'll play Blitzball while I'm playing through the story, but I'll beat the game, and then on my last save, I literally I keep that save there so I can just keep playing Blitzball.
Well, and I don't think you can get attack reels, element reels, and even his ultimate weapon until you've gotten to a certain point in the game anyway. So if you're doing it like before you get the airship, I think you pretty much won't get it anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm like right before you go inside of Sin. That's
okay, yeah.
That's where my save is.
Oh yeah, so then you should definitely have it.
I probably have it, yeah. And even you know how before each match you're supposed to line up ooh, you could learn this move from this guy. Yeah. I have them all, so there's no point in doing any of that. But
I only get a select few, and then it's kind of pointless after that.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I don't think there's an achievement for it, but there might be for getting all the moves, but I don't think there is. I don't think so. I know there's one for getting everything on the sphere grid, which I still don't have, but
no. But that would be a game that would be I don't know, it's fun to grind in that game too, so.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the thing about comfort games for me is that it doesn't matter, like we said earlier, it doesn't matter what kind of game it is. If you come home and you're I've had a shit day, I just want to play a video game, but I don't want to think about playing a video game. I just want to play it, get in a better mood, or do something. That's all a comfort game requires. I mean, some people play Elden Ring as a comfort game, and to me and you, that might not be the case. But and I love Elden Ring, and I've played it sometimes when I have had nothing else to play or have not been in the mood to play anything else. You know, I'll load it up or whatever. 14 is a good comfort game for me because you can sit in an area and listen to the area music, or while you craft stuff, or while if you're
there's always something to do usually in an MMO, right?
Well, yeah, and an MMO is the perfect comfort game because there's so many different things you can do. You can level up a character, you can craft, you can do dungeons, you can do trials, you can do raids. I mean, there's so many things you can or you can just sit, turn it on, sit in a certain location. I like to sit in Ishgard because it has a certain song that I like, or Kugane at night has a certain song that I like. And I just sit there and I'll do something else, and I'll leave my headphones on, or I'll play it through my speakers.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you don't even necessarily have to play the game for it to be a comfort game. So I think, like, sometimes people get too hung up on what is and isn't a certain type of game. It is what you make of it, you know.
Absolutely. Well, it's like even like Star Trek Online. I'll fire it up, and me and my buddies will do like our dailies or something, and then it's just we're literally just visiting on Discord. We'll go to like Earth Space Dock and just start dry humping on people trying to like work on their ships and stuff, and then they have like this menu up on their screen, and as soon as they close the menu, they've got like 2 dudes surrounding them just grinding on them.
Right. And it's like, that's the other thing too.
People get so mad, dude.
Right. And a comfort game can be something that you play with your friends. Like, like we played UFC together a while back, you know, like that was comforting because, like, even though we were trying to win, it was something we both enjoyed, and something that, like, you know, we weren't looking to do anything with it. We were just looking to play.
Playing it to play it. We're mostly hanging out and just having something to do while we hang out.
Kind of like doing the podcast, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly. I did want to say when you were saying you weren't like completely on the fence for Baldur's Gate 3, and then you made up that bullshit story about your friend getting you into it, but I noticed you didn't purchase it until after they announced you could fuck a bear.
Jesus. Well, what's funny is I didn't purchase it until, was it Tuesday of last week? Might have been Tuesday. It was either Monday or Tuesday, I think, that I bought it. Because I was like, I played early access with my friend. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to buy this. And then I, you know, do what I always do, and I got obsessed. And then I started looking up videos, and I started looking up, you know, gameplay mechanics, and Dungeons and Dragons shit and builds and all kinds of stuff.
Dungeons and Dragons movie?
I've not seen it yet.
Neither have I. I heard it's really good, though.
This might actually encourage me to play it.
Like, watch it, you mean?
Yeah, watch it. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
We were talking about games, so.
Yeah.
All right, so the moment we've all been waiting for.
Yes.
The Q&A session. Now, do we want to start the questions and then do our greens, or do we want to do our greens now?
Let's do our first Gessel green before we get to the first question.
So, we're going to start from the top of these questions, and we're going to start with DJ Gonzalez, who on Facebook asked about my thoughts about One Piece. Now, this is something I've been watching kind of behind the scenes. Haven't really talked about it a whole lot socially. I just got past the Arlong Park arc of the show. I gotta say, I had always heard One Piece was like this huge thing. It was hard to get into. Like, if you didn't start from the beginning or close to the beginning, that it was going to be really hard to get into. I actually am kind of enjoying it. It's less about, like, it's not like Dragon Ball Z where, like, it's building up to the next, like, transformation
kind of
or power. Or something. I mean, it does transition to the next big bad, but, like, you know how Dragon Ball is like, oh my god, we got this new power. Oh my god, we got this new form. We got this. You know, it just keeps piling up. This is more about the adventure. This is more about the journey, which is why, like, it's taken this long to get to where it's at now, because it's kind of like, so it kind of reminds me of how you described Dragon Quest. Luffy and the other, like, we'll call it, you know, the pirates, they are going port to port, town to town, figuring out themselves, figuring out who to help. There was one episode where Luffy wanted to go see where the Pirate King had been executed. Right. So he goes to this island, and the military force is called the Marines, and they are like, they're anti-pirate, obviously. So, like, Luffy goes there, and he ends up encountering, like, one of the really higher ups in the Marines and stuff. And it's all about, like, overcoming that conflict, and, like, Luffy really wanted to see where the Pirate King got executed, so he got to see that, and, like, that was his, like, goal for the episode, was to see that.
Okay.
Then, like, there's times where, like, they'll help a village or a character, or one of the characters will have like a backstory, and they'll actually explore that backstory over the next 4 or 5 episodes, where you end up like Nami. She's one of the characters in it that's going with them. Well, she actually is part of Arlong's pirates, and nobody knows. And so, like, she goes back to her island, but in reality, she's just trying to save her island from the pirates. So, like, Luffy goes with her and, like, helps her out, fights Arlong, saves her village, stuff like that. And then, like, it helps the characters move on to the next phase of the story. And I'm really enjoying it. I did not think I was going to, you know, a lot of fan bases are insufferable. I'm not saying the One Piece community is, but when you have all these people saying, oh, One Piece is great, One Piece is this, One Piece is that, and it's like, is it really that good? Or is it just the fan base is blowing it up into this thing? And I gotta say, like, there's nothing that's been mind-blowing so far, but I honestly do feel like the show is really good.
Okay. I tried to get into it once, and it's not for me, like 100%. Like, the anime cringe is like my number one deterring factor when it comes to like modern JRPGs and modern anime, and that show probably has the most anime cringe out of like any show I've seen in a very, very long time. Like, I can't even do it. Like
sometimes
even like the name of his power, like gum powers. Like, I can't do it, man. I can't do it.
I could see that. It's not as it depends on the episode, but yeah, I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah, I can't do it.
But yeah, I mean, I'm liking it, but you're not really into anime anyway.
No,
so
I'm
it's
not
like
a big anime guy.
So it's like you wouldn't probably take the chance to jump on 1,000 episode anime.
Yeah. I think I saw 3 episodes, like the first 3. And then I was like, yeah, this just isn't, I can't do it.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, it happens. DJ also asked, niche game we wish was more accessible.
Well, I mean, I'm going to go with Dragon Quest, because that's still, like, could you imagine if Final Fantasy still didn't release games here, like in the West? That Dragon Quest is still in that fucking phase. It's crazy, man. There's so many games that don't make it over here.
Yeah, and it's like, so Dragon Quest X is like their big MMO for Dragon Quest, and it requires an English patch, like a fan translation, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, that it does. I mean, I get that they're running 14 and, you know, 11 still, but it's like you could probably bring Dragon Quest X over and it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This one's tough for me because I don't really have a niche game that I don't know. That's tough. I might have to come back to that one, but I don't really have an answer for that one.
Yeah.
Also on Facebook, Chris Patrick, favorite dinosaur.
Oh, that's a good question. I gotta go Albertosaurus.
The fuck is that?
The only reason I like it is because it was found around here, and they always have like the skeleton and stuff on like display at like the local museums and stuff. It's basically like it's I think it's bigger than a T-Rex, but it's basically a similar concept, I think.
So mine, and this is going to be connected to something else, but this is why I like the Triceratops. Because
the Blue Ranger is your favorite Power Ranger.
Blue Ranger used to be my favorite Power Ranger, like, ever. So I really like Triceratops, and it's always been my favorite dinosaur.
Nice. Triceratops is a solid dino, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's got 3 horns, so
how can you go wrong?
Right.
And a shield for a head, basically.
Right. So, Dustman on YouTube asked about playing Lost Odyssey, and if we have, would we like to see it remastered and released on current consoles /PC?
I feel like all the Mistwalker games need to be released on modern consoles and PC.
Right.
Like, we finally got news due to an accidental leak that
Fantasian.
Fantasian is coming to PC. I hope it comes to like PS4, but if not, I'll fucking try to get that shit working through Steam or GOG because I can't get PC games working ever. But I was planning on like being like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking do whatever I can to play this fucking game on my TV and be able to stream it. And I was gonna like download some sketchy ass fucking software on my phone to try and get it to work. But it is very relieving knowing that it's very likely coming to PC at the very least. And I feel like
actually, you know what? I'm gonna change my answer about the niche game, Fantasian.
Just Mistwalker games in general.
Yeah, Mistwalker games in general. Yeah,
they've been just trapped on like non JRPG consoles and platforms since like the fucking dawn of the company, basically.
Actually, I have Lost Odyssey on disc.
Yeah, I have it too.
I
wanted to grab it, but I've never played it. Nice. I haven't played it yet.
Mine's on my shelf over there, but yeah, it's really good.
I hear it is.
Yeah, the music's awesome. The story's awesome. It's just really, really good.
I also have Last Story.
I have Blue Dragon.
I have Blue Dragon as well. It's on my shelf. I didn't grab that one though.
Nice.
I haven't played any of them though.
It's funny because
I want to.
We have another question later on that's about Last Story as well. Yeah, I think definitely Lost Odyssey for sure needs to be on modern systems.
Yeah,
all right.
Definitely. I would love. I'm gonna play it on the 360 if I have to, but I would love to play it on the PS4. Should we take some more Gessel Greens?
All right. So this is a combined question from Dustman and Shazza Rose on YouTube. The question was basically, what's your earliest gaming memory? First game you played, and which game solidified your love of gaming for life? And then Dustman asked, what moment from a video game solidified our love for gaming?
Now, my question is it Dustman or Dustman? Because Dustman, I think, is in Mega Man 4.
Yeah, it's probably Dustman. I don't know. I'm stupid.
So, what was the first game you remember playing? Is that basic kind of like what the question was?
What was your earliest gaming memory?
Yeah, so the first game I think I ever played was actually Double Dragon 2. And that's why, like, earlier when I said I've been a Double Dragon fan since I was fucking born, basically. Like, I remember, like, you know, when your mom buys like a console or buys something, moms don't know things. They just buy shit and think they're doing the best, right? So my mom bought an NES and it came with Mario and Duck Hunt, but she didn't know, so she was like, well, I better buy a game for this. So she bought Double Dragon 2. So the first game I actually remember ever playing was Double Dragon 2 with my mom, and we didn't know how to jump because in Double Dragon 2...
I remember this story, actually.
Yeah. So in Double Dragon 2, you depending on your A and B buttons are like left and right attack. So if you're like facing this way, A will punch and B will do a back kick. If you're facing the other way, B will punch and A will do a back kick. So in order to jump, you have to press both buttons at the same time. But we could not fucking figure that out. And we were just like, there's a part where you have to like jump over a ledge. And I just remember getting stuck there. Sometimes you would fall and die. And then you'd spawn on top of the ledge. And you're like, all right, we can keep playing now. So,
God, games were such dog shit back then.
It's a good game, but it's like I was like 4 years old, right? And my mom had never played a video game before, so we were just like, that was my earliest gaming memory.
So my earliest gaming memory is actually also with my mom. We had an NES, and she had Super Mario Brothers 1 on it. And when I was like 3, I think it was, I didn't realize that I wasn't playing. Like, my mom handed me a broken controller.
Okay, the classic.
With a shoestring for the cord. And like, I didn't know any better. So like, I was just sitting there playing along, you know, and like, it's not technically the first game. Well, I guess it is the first game I played because I did play it later, but it was the first experience I had with gaming, and I wasn't even actually doing anything.
I feel like everybody does that. Like unless you have like Sonic the Hedgehog 2 where they can just fuck around his tails. I feel like everybody has done that to like a kid before where they just like give him a controller that's not plugged in and be like, "Hey, you're doing good." But
What's
they're
funny
not
is,
doing anything.
so my son, like, obviously he's not old enough yet to play video games. He's not even 1.5 yet, but
Yeah.
like he'll look at the TV and he'll see me playing a game. Like I'll be playing, like, I don't know, UFC or, something like that, and
Yeah.
he'll be watching me play, and then he'll want to grab a controller.
Yeah.
So like I just give him one that's either, dead or, that he can't really mess anything up with if he hits a button or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's cool because, like, that's how I'm kind of passing it down, is like he's playing with controllers that aren't working.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
It's scarier now because like with a PS1 controller, it's just like I can unplug this and do anything and nothing's going to affect anything. But with PS4 and stuff, if they press this button, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't it's not quite the same because if you have to like get like an older console controller
Right.
or get like a kid's toy controller or something, right?
Right. Yeah, and he's got one, but I've also got like an Xbox 360 controller that doesn't work that I let him play with. So, he's learning it.
And then the game that made you like fall in love with gaming, that's a fucking hard one for me. I remember playing like the first Dragon Quest at my babysitter's, but I think I had already loved video games by that point. So I don't know. It might trying to think of like some of my early games. It might have been like Mega Man, but I didn't like Mega Man 1 was really good. Or at the time I thought it was really good, but it's not really that good of a game compared to like the rest of them. So I don't know what I'm trying to think of like what some of those early games are that I played because some sucked. Like I had remember Yoshi. Have you ever played Yoshi
Yeah.
with like the stacking? Like fuck,
Yeah.
man, I had some shit games when I was a kid.
I think mine is probably, and I'm gonna be a basic bitch here, but I would say that the first game that really made me love video games was probably Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah,
I would say that's probably the one, because like the music, the the suits that you could wear and stuff, like the Tanuki suit and I can't remember which one it is, the raccoon,
the frog. There's
the frog.
one.
Yeah, it's like it was the first game I played where like it was bright. Obviously, I was young too, so it's like it was bright. It was,
Yeah,
the music was catchy and repetitive, and that's like, it's what kids love. So
yeah.
for me, I would say Super Mario Brothers 3 was the first game that really solidified my love for games.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm gonna say Mega Man 1 because I used to like rent it quite often, and I didn't really. I want to say it was like the first game I rented too, like that was good, anyways. Because like when you're a kid, you just fucking. I remember like renting. You remember that like Othello? It's like.
I've heard of it, but it's
It's fucking shit. It's like a board game, basically, like checkers, but on Nintendo.
oh, okay,
Like I would just rent fucking anything. You know what I mean?
right.
Like when I was a kid, I remember my parents being like, "No, you can't read or rent that one because there's too much reading and you can't read yet." And I'd be like, "Fuck!" I'd like cry because I wanted to play Roger Rabbit.
Spoiler alert: this was just last week.
This was last week.
Yeah,
Because my parents didn't want to read to me the whole time.
neither do I.
But that's what I got you for.
Right, yeah. That's why I'm reading the questions. But yeah, it's what's funny is too, like, there's so many different answers you could come up with this, because like, what was the first game that solidified my love for gaming? Well, I would say Super Mario Brothers 3,
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like, what moment from a video game solidified your love for gaming? Like, is it from the same game that that solidified your love for gaming in general, or is it like a game that really hit home for you?
What was
like
the
a moment?
What was the? I'm gonna add this question. What was the first game that like knocked your cock off? You know what I mean? Like like I say like Mega Man might be the first game that made me like fall in love with gaming, but what was the first game that like you like that feeling when like I can't wait to get home from school. Like you go to school and all you can think about is getting home to play that game. What was your first game that was like that?
I would say probably it's either Pokemon Red.
Ooh, that's a good choice too.
Or actually, no, I'm gonna go with Pokemon Red. I think that was the first game that really made me like, I can't wait to get home, or I'm gonna bring my Game Boy with me to recess.
Get it taken away at school.
Yeah. Like I think that was the first game where I was like, probably what you would say addicted to a game.
Yeah. Was that your first JRPG?
I think it was. My first full-fledged like story mode adventure game JRPG was probably Final Fantasy VII. But
right.
Like overall JRPG, I would say Pokemon was my very first.
So I think my first game like that was also like not my first JRPG, but my second one, and that would be on the NES, Dragon Warrior 4, or now known as Dragon Quest 4. And it was just like everything about it was so ahead of its time, and the story was so well told, the world was so gigantic, and like I just remember wanting to see everything and wanting to go to all the towns. Like they really put an emphasis, especially in not the first chapter, but the second and third chapters of needing to go to Endor. There's like it's like kind of like the capital city of the kind of main country is Endor. And the way Dragon Quest 4 works is every chapter is you play as a different character or group of characters. And so in 2, I think it's chapter 2, you're Elena, the princess or whatever, who wants to participate in the tournament, and it's in Endor. So the whole thing is like, we got to get to Endor, blah blah blah. And then you get to the tournament, you fight the tournament, and then her chapter ends. You don't really get to see a whole lot of Endor. And then chapter 3, you start as Tornico, who's also like one of my favorite video game characters of all time. And he's basically like a merchant. It's like the only JRPG where you play as a merchant. And it's an NES era JRPG. And you're literally, the start of the game, you're standing behind a counter selling swords to whoever walks through the door. And like, I just thought that was the coolest shit ever as a kid. And he has to save up enough money and get enough stuff so he can make the trip to Endor, and because he has a family shop him and his wife run in like their hometown, but they want to make it big, and the best way to do that is to go to the city and be able to open a shop there, right? So his whole life goal is to get and to be able to open a shop in Endor. So it's just, I don't know, the way they make it so like you're always hearing about places in that game, and it just makes you want to go there so bad. And when you're a kid and you're experiencing all these different characters, all these different stories, and all these different locations, you just want to keep going, and you obviously can't, because you have to go to bed, you have to go to school and stuff like that. And that was the first game for me that was like that. And thankfully it was a game where you could save, because there were a lot of kids that had a game like that, and I remember telling them, saying like, "Oh, I just leave it on pause the whole day," and it's like, "Fuck, man, the odds of your game fucking up and you having to start that whole game over are so high."
Well, and like, so I want to say that, so Final Fantasy VII impacted me, obviously, but I think probably the first time that a game like blew me away was probably Final Fantasy VIII, with the Dalit mission, and like the
build up was so good.
Like that opening cutscene for the entire game, like the Squall versus Cypher fight. That cutscene, it is so iconic.
Yeah, it is. It really grabs you like immediately.
Obviously, I played 7, but 8 was the first time that I had played like a game where I could legitimately like understand what was going on. Because like
Right.
when I played 7, I was super young and I was
Oh,
I was
okay.
able to read, but like there
No,
was
you didn't
obviously
understand what was going on
right.
to the
So
degree that like you
right.
should.
So I didn't understand what was going on to the degree that I did with Final Fantasy VIII. So I was able to like that opening cutscene, and then the Dalit mission, and then like the mission in the city where you're supposed to be killing the sorceress, and like she ends up stabbing him through the chest. Like
Yeah.
cutscenes like that, like moments like that, are what really solidified my love for like JRPGs, stuff like that, because I didn't really see Pokemon as a JRPG back then.
Right. It's
So
just it's like a basic JRPG,
yeah, it's
right?
just an adventure game, like,
Yeah.
and those games seem a lot longer when you're a kid than they ever do when you're an adult, like the
Yeah.
Pokemon games.
Yeah. The
But
It's kind of funny that you said that about Final Fantasy VIII being your first JRPG where you were like old enough to really know what was going on and all that, because that was me too. Like I had played Dragon Quest IV, and I understood enough to be able to beat the game. I didn't understand all the little intricacies of like the story and like the details of the characters and what was completely happening to them when I was a kid. But I didn't play another JRPG until Final Fantasy VIII, and that was the first one that I played too, where I actually knew what was going on, and I think that's a big part of why that game means a lot more to me than it would like regular fans of the
right, I think
series.
I think that's the same for me, because
Hmm.
like we said, that is the one game where I understood what was going on, and the cutscenes were at that time like that was our high
Oh,
definition,
they
right?
were.
Like
They really were. They were way above and beyond anything else at the time, and even
yeah,
after it. Really, like the cutscenes in that look better than even like Chrono Cross cutscenes, I think.
yeah,
And Chrono
like
Cross came out like quite a ways after that.
yeah, and like it's one of those things where like it just you usually remember the first JRPG that impacted you like that.
Hmm.
And 8 just has so many things that pop up in my mind, like the Balam Garden,
Yeah,
the music, like just everything that game set up is
yeah.
probably the first time I fell in love with JRPGs, or like solidified my love for gaming
Gaming.
moment wise.
I think Dragon Warrior 4, it was like goals and moments that I would like remember and latch onto when I was a kid, more so than like the overarching story.
Hmm.
But with once I played Final Fantasy VIII, it was like this, it was everything, right? The story, the world, the characters, like everything. So I think what we should do is episode 8 of the gaming effect will be the Final Fantasy 8 episode.
Okay,
I think
I'll
we
I'll
should do
agree.
that.
I'll agree to that.
I think we should do that.
Yep, Final Fantasy VIII podcast episode 8. You heard it here. Bookmark it, folks. It's going.
It's going down.
It's
buddy.
going down.
Next question.
All right. Wiz Catches Lightning asked off of YouTube.
Oh, I like that guy.
Yeah, he's cool. Which games are which games are you both looking forward to the most over the next year? Could be a rumored game as well.
Definitely Dragon Quest Monsters 3: The Dark Prince. Like hands down. Top of the old food chain for me right now.
Right now, with me playing the game I was excited for, I would say the next game that I'm excited for is probably going to be, I mean, it's not a game technically, but the DLC for Cyberpunk is coming out. I'm pretty excited for that. I'm also excited for Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars remake.
Oh, right.
That's coming out soon as well. I'm really excited for that. So I would say those are probably my top two as of right now, because everything that I want so far has come out. So
Yeah.
maybe
I guess,
Eowyn Chronicles, since it got delayed.
Yeah, I kind of figured it was gonna, because
Yeah.
you hadn't heard anything about it like all
Right.
this year, pretty much.
It's delayed till I think they said Q2 of next year.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yep. So
I'm gonna take some more Gessel Greens.
all right.
I think that was 2 questions
Yeah.
to keep us honest.
All right. Our good buddy Mike Critiques on YouTube. What is a good JRPG for people who struggle to get into the genre?
I can think of two.
I can think of two as well, but I think one of them is going to be the same answer. But
I think so too.
What is your first answer?
My first one, I think I got to go with Chrono Trigger.
That's the one I was going to go with.
I got to go with Chrono Trigger because the pacing in that game is exceptional. It's not too grindy, but you can grind if you want to. The combat is fast, it's fluid.
There's no random encounters.
There's no random encounters, and it's not one of those games where it's like in Final Fantasy 13, the game's a fucking narrow hallway, and anyone who's like, I love when the monsters are on screen, have never played a game where you're in a smaller area and now you have to fight every single monster every 3 steps, where you'd be better off with random encounters. You'd have less encounters, but no, you can usually sneak around. There's some areas where you're forced to have an encounter, but which is nice if you want to grind too, right?
Right.
But the story's really good. The characters are excellent. The pacing's really good. The story's really well told too. It's not like because some Final Fantasies are very a little over convoluted. Some of the Japanese writing gets a little wonky, right? You find that with anime and JRPGs all the time, but with Chrono Trigger, it really feels very not completely surface level. There's some depth to it, but it's just a solid, well-told story with a well-developed world, and it's a
really solid title for beginners of the genre. Super solid title. I mean, it is the perfect JRPG to start out with. I like it. I mean, I love that game. It's one of my all-time favorites. It was the first time music for me had been really transformative when it came to video games. I think that's probably my number one.
That's my number one.
What's your number two?
My number two now has got to be Dragon Quest XI. I think the only negative is that it's so long. If you were gonna get into a JRPG for the first time, I'm always gonna say Chrono Trigger
because it's 25 hours.
Because it's 25 hours. Dragon Quest XI is fucking 120 hours, 93 to 120 hours to complete the game. It's super long, but it's really well animated. The story's really well told. Again, it's got incredible characters, very simple gameplay. It's as hard as you want it to be, basically, until you get to the third act where shit starts to get pretty tough. And it's not super grindy until the very end either. And on-screen encounters that are easily dodgeable. You can cheese EXP once you get your horse, because you can dash through monsters that are weaker than you and kill them on your horse and get the EXP that way. And it's also got it's got that NES/Super NES/PS1 JRPG feel.
Very traditional.
But with all the quality of life improvements that JRPGs have made over the years.
Right.
So I think that's why. And then if I had to name a third, I'd say Final Fantasy IV for almost all the same reasons as Chrono Trigger, but it's a lot more grindy. It gets a lot more difficult, I feel, at the end.
I would say my number two would have to be Final Fantasy X. We touched on it earlier, but the difficulty is not that high for the most part, except for a few difficulty spikes, like the third Seymour fight, and Jekt can be kind of hard. Yeah, but
it should be a final boss. I feel like if the whole game is smooth, well, even in Chrono Trigger, the Lavos encounter is grueling as fuck. But I mean, it gives you something to prepare for, right?
Right. Well, and Final Fantasy X for me is there's so much to offer. It's not super long. Its story is well told. Its pacing is really good.
Yeah, it is.
Its combat is really cool, and there's a lot of potential in it. It's more basic, I think, than Chrono Trigger, just because you don't have triple text and you don't have all this
yeah, that's true.
The combinations and stuff. But I would say great music. voice acting, which I know a lot of people, a
that
lot of
helps,
people
yeah.
enjoy their games more when there's voice acting. Difficulty's not that high. The weapon system's cool. The summon system's cool. Like, it's a very good introductory game.
The gear is very easy to do
Right.
as well compared to a lot of other JRPGs. Like, you
Well,
essentially
it's
have a weapon
customizable.
and an armor, right? And then you can like change what you want their features to be, but you're not equipping like gloves, like
Right.
body armor. Like, it kind of streamlines that, hey?
Right. And it does feel like the perfect introduction to even if not saying JRPGs, but maybe Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
It's a good introductory game.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, it's kind of funny you said that, because that's the one and only, I think, JRPG my wife has ever played was Final Fantasy X.
It's a great start.
Yeah.
And then I would say, if I had to pick a number 3, I don't know. Those are the two that really, really come to mind. Maybe Super Mario RPG.
I would say I'm not a fan of the game personally, but I would say it's a good introductory game.
Yeah,
I hope the remake fixes. There's some bullshit in that game mainly due to it being an isometric perspective. But and just from the trailers, some of the bullshit parts were shown in the trailers, and it looks like they redeemed them. So
right, and it's a game that I've played several times over the years. And I guess you could actually add it to my comfort games too, but I think, yeah, with the combat system and it being like Mario, like millions of people have played and love Mario, it's a recognizable franchise created by a company that is recognized for JRPGs, and it's the perfect combination of Mario and RPG elements that people would get behind. So, 9 asked this one of me. He goes, "You can only pick one and the other disappears. Which do you choose? FromSoft games or Final Fantasy games?" And as tough as this question could have been to answer, I think because of my long history with the franchise,
I was gonna say
Final Fantasy games would have to stay. Like, I love FromSoft games. I love Elden Ring. I love, like, the entire Dark Souls series, Bloodborne, Sekiro. I love all those games. But, like, 2 of my comfort games are Final Fantasy games.
Exactly.
I
feel like Final Fantasy and like Dragon Quest kind of like shaped who I am too, right? Like I don't know. Just
so let me turn this on you. Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest?
Oh, Final Fantasy could hit the bricks.
I figured that was going to be your answer.
Yeah.
D52110 asked, "Have you played Last Story? What do you love about it? And do you think it's the best game from Mistwalker?"
Okay, so now that question makes me want to play the game even more. I have not played it yet. I saw it at there's like a used game store in the city near me, and I was like, holy fuck, I've never heard of this game before. And then I was like, this is fucking done by the Gooch himself. And I had no idea this was a Sakaguchi and Uematsu game.
Yeah.
So I'm
Lost
super
Odyssey
stoked to play
too.
it, man. And now that, yeah, I knew Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon, but I don't know if Blue Dragon has Uematsu or not. But I know it's Sakaguchi, and I think it's Akira Toriyama, which is pretty sweet because it's kind of like a Dragon Quest swap almost. It's almost like a what if Sakaguchi made a Dragon Quest kind of.
Yeah.
So I've wanted to play that forever, but this game I've always wanted to play, but now that you think it's one of the best Mistwalker games, now I want to play it even more. Like, I'm excited to play it. I've never even seen a trailer or cutscene of The Last Story, and I want to keep it like that. So.
See, I've never played it either. I've seen it played. I've seen trailers. I've seen stuff like that.
Is it turn-based? God, I hope it's turn-based.
Dude, I don't even remember. I think it is. Okay. I'm pretty sure it is. Pretty much anything from Sakaguchi is going to be turn-based.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those games that I've always wanted to play but never gotten around to.
Do you have it too then?
I don't have it because I never had a Wii.
Oh, really?
Really?
The Wii's like one of the most most owned consoles, I think, of all time.
Yeah, I went through a phase where, like, after the Nintendo 64, I was all PlayStation and Xbox all the way.
Under fucking standable. N64, I mean, that is a garbage console.
All right. Stephen Saunders on Twitter asked, thoughts on the Castlevania series, individual games, the Netflix show.
Oh, baby. That's one of my favorite series of all time. When was that? 2 or 3 years ago, I played through every Castlevania game the whole way through. I even played the Castlevania, I think it was called Resurrection, on the Dreamcast. It never was released, but they have a copy of the unfinished game online, so I streamed that as well. I fucking love Castlevania so much. My favorite games, I actually did a top 10 Castlevania games video, so you can check that out on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dookie03.
Shameless plug.
And I did that for like October, I think last year. I did top 10 Castlevania. But my favorites would be, growing up, my favorites were obviously the first Castlevania. That game was just crazy when I was a kid. But Castlevania 3 I really liked. But it's incredibly hard. I still think it's the hardest game in the series. Probably one of the hardest games on the NES. Next to like Battletoads, which is fucking impossible. But
TMNT.
Yeah, I've never beat that either. Fucking then what's the Genesis one? Bloodlines, Castlevania Bloodlines. Love that one. And then of course you've got
your favorite being Castlevania 64, right?
That is the worst game, dude. Okay, I that was the only one out of all the Castlevania games I streamed. That was the only one I didn't finish.
The Dragon Ball sagas of Castlevania.
It truly is the Dragon Ball Z sagas of Castlevania. It fucking is so bad, and not only that, but the game fucking crashed on me, man. And I was doing that Nitro Mandragora part. I don't know if you played the game, but there's a part where you know how in even like Final Fantasy or just any game where you're in like a 3D direction movable environment.
Yeah.
There's always like a walk animation, but your natural one if you're using an analog is to do the run because you're fucking trying to get a place. Well, in Castlevania 64, there's a part where you have to grab a Nitro and a Mandragora, and you have to like take them both to this wall to blow up this wall. And while you're carrying the Nitro, you cannot run and you cannot drop down like anything bigger than this, or it explodes, killing you instantly, and you have to do the whole thing over again.
Oh.
So I finished that after 5 attempts on when I was trying to stream it. And I was like, fuck, I finally did it. And I'm going back. I was like, I gotta fucking save because I'm not doing this again. And I'm walking back to the save point, and this fucking werewolf guy comes. He starts howling, comes into the corner of my screen, clips into the wall weird, and the whole game locks up. And I was like, hey, fuck this game, man. I'm never playing this again. I have beaten it in the past, but that is the shittiest fucking Castlevania game of all time. By far.
Now, I don't have much experience with the Castlevania series.
Oh, man, you gotta play him.
I have played 1 and I think 3.
Castlevania is truly the original Dark Souls.
But I have not finished them. The only game in the series I have finished is
Symphony?
Lords of Shadow.
Oh, that one plays that's almost like completely different.
I love that game though. It's
good, but the second one kind of sucked.
Yeah, the second one kind of sucked, but the first one's really, really, really good. Yeah, that's the only one that I've ever finished was Lords of Shadow.
You should go back and play the all of them. Honestly, they're all good, other than 64.
I have a hard time with Metroidvania games.
No, only the out of the first ones, Simon's Quest is Metroidvania. You can skip that one if you want. A lot of people don't like that one. I really like it. But it's Metroidvania, but there's also like only 6 dungeons. Like it's not huge. It's an NES game, right? It's the first Metroidvania. But you could definitely do Castlevania 1, Castlevania 3, Bloodlines, Super Castlevania 4, which is just basically a remake of the first Castlevania. Rondo of Blood. They don't become Metroidvania until Symphony of the Night, and I would definitely like if you hate Metroidvania games, I would say maybe dip out after that,
Okay.
after Bloodlines and 4. I'm trying to think. I swear there was at least one more that wasn't a Metroidvania after that, but I can't remember. Oh, you know what? You might like the hack and slash ones. There's Lament of Innocence on the PS2 and Curse of Darkness, and they're more hack and slash, kind of like what Lords of Shadow was.
Okay.
Like it was more hack and slashy. Arguably, Lament of Innocence may be the first ever hack and slash game. It was the first 3D game like that played like that, if I remember correctly. But yeah, no, excellent series. My favorites would be like Aria of Sorrow, Symphony of the Night, Portrait of Ruin. I played it for the first time. That and Aria and Dawn and all that. I played that for the first time about 2-3 years ago. I had no idea. So I love Bloodlines or Bloodline. Yeah, Bloodlines. Sorry. We've had a couple Gessel Greens. I've played and loved Bloodlines since I was a kid, and I knew Portrait of Ruin existed, and I love Soma, so I love like Aria of Sorrow, Dawn of Sorrow, and I was a little disappointed when what is it, Portrait of Ruin didn't continue that story. I was like, oh, we're going to a new story, and then as I'm playing it, I'm finding out it's a fucking direct sequel to Bloodlines on the Sega Genesis, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like these guys are like the kids of the fucking guys, like, and one of the guys from Bloodlines is in Portrait of Ruin. So that game's way up there for me too, and it's like, oh man, I love that series so much.
Did you watch the Netflix show?
Okay, yeah. So, the Netflix show. I loved the first 2 seasons, and then the pacing in the third was so bad that I couldn't get past. Like, I think I got like 4 episodes in. The same reason I don't watch movies is the same reason I couldn't watch it. I literally, like, I fall asleep really easy if I'm not, like, if the pacing in something's not good. And goddamn, was the pacing brutal in the 3rd season. So I haven't seen anything past that.
I watched part of season 1, and I really enjoyed it. For the most part, the pacing is kind of weird. I like how they introduced like Alucard and Dracula and like that whole story, that backstory and stuff that they had for him. But like, I don't know. I enjoyed the show, but it felt like it was sometimes the swearing and stuff felt like it was a 13-year-old kid that just discovered that they could swear.
Yeah, like forced, felt a bit forced.
Yeah, it felt a little bit too like excessive.
Yeah,
and I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I obviously don't care about like adult themes or adult language or whatever, but it felt like sometimes they threw in swear words just to throw them in.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I felt that way about Final Fantasy 16.
They're well timed, okay.
Just from what I've seen, but no, I see what you mean though. Like it's not even that it's excessive in the Castlevania anime. It's just not. I don't know. It just seems out of place more often than not.
Right, exactly.
Is I guess how I would word it, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Roger Chandler from YouTube asked, any news of Dragon Age 4 or new Witcher games? I know Witcher 4 is currently being worked on. I don't think they've really revealed anything on it yet. And Dragon Age 4 I haven't really been paying attention to. I never really got into the Dragon Age games.
No, same here. I played one of them. Origins? I think I have Origins.
Yeah, I played the first one, whichever one that is. That's probably Origins, I would have to assume.
That's the only one I've played a little bit of. Witcher, is that the same team that did like Cyberpunk and
CD Projekt Red, yeah.
Are they the ones doing that? What is it, Starfield?
No, that's Bethesda.
Oh, okay. So that's like the Mass Effect guys, or is that a different?
That's BioWare.
I don't play a lot of Western RPGs. I don't know if you can tell.
No, not at all. Now, this last one isn't really, well, it was a question, but I got to give a shout out to my mods from Twitch and Discord and stuff. They they were like, "Oh yeah, my question is your mods and why are they so awesome?" You know, it's something like that, right? You know, so I got to give a special shout out to all those guys. They're most of the people that I played 14 with and built my community with and stuff. So big shout out to the mods. You guys know who you are. So thanks for all your hard work. I really appreciate it, especially sticking with me over the last couple of years.
After you ghosted everyone.
Yeah.
For like 3 years.
Yeah.
I think it was 2. It didn't feel like a long time, honestly.
It was 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel like that long.
So we have some general questions that we'd like to kind of let you guys get to know us, and this will probably be what we're going to wrap up with. What is your favorite game of all time and why? I will go ahead. My favorite game of all time currently is Final Fantasy XIV. The reason for it is out of all the things that I love in video games, you know, story, music, you know, gameplay, obviously, and just atmosphere. Final Fantasy XIV for me has all of that and more. And after, you know, my opinion on Remake was not taking very well, I played 14 with a group of people that I had met through YouTube and stuff, and became my mods and stuff like that, and we all played the game together. And like, so 14 is one of those games where like it impacted me in so many different ways, and wasn't even a game that I grew up playing. It was a game that I picked up like 2 or 3 years ago after. So I had played it when it came out on PS4. When the PS4 launched, I got it.
Did you ever play the original?
No, I did not.
No? Okay. No, me neither. My buddy Paul, I think, did.
I played A Realm Reborn when it came out on PS4, and then I got to like level 35 or something, and I dropped it. And then, you know, 2 or 3 years ago, I started playing again, and that's when it really, you know, I'm 5 expansions in, and, well, 4 expansions in, and about to be 5, and still loving it. Still my favorite game of all time.
A lot of people that saw the announcement of the upcoming expansion, they were like, "Oh, Final Fantasy 14's finally getting its beach episode." Like, you know how anime always have like the the beach episode where they go to the beach.
Yeah, there's I love the memes in the 14 community are really good too. So I love just the atmosphere of it. Like there was 2 big pops in the crowd during FanFest, and one of them was that they announced that gear sets are now going to have 2 dye colors instead of just 1, which doesn't sound like a huge deal, but like to the 14 community, that's massive, you know?
Okay.
So then the other thing, there's this meme. It's the Big Fat Taco meme, and the Ultima song that I think you've played on Theater Rhythm.
Oh yeah, Theater Rhythm. Yeah.
It sounds like they're saying Big Fat Tacos. Well, this expansion takes place in like a Mayan, Aztec, South American type location.
Okay, yeah.
So one of the fan favorite characters, Graha, he's walking through the crowd, and then you see him take a bite of a giant taco.
Oh my God.
In the trailer. So everybody was like
funny.
Screaming when he was eating the taco, because it like,
that's funny.
Not only is it Graha, but it's also that they're playing into the Big Fat Tacos meme.
That's funny, dude.
So what's your favorite game?
My favorite game is Dragon Quest XI, of course. Definitive Edition, if we got to narrow it down.
Echo S or S, whatever.
Echoes of an Elusive Age. S. Yeah. It's got everything, all the good things from a series I love more than anything, and just like I said, it streamlines all the annoying stuff that JRPGs can have too, right? So I love it for that. Tells a great story, has probably some of my favorite characters in gaming. I didn't think I didn't think I'd find a cast of characters I loved more than the cast from Dragon Quest IV, and I might like the cast from Dragon Quest XI even more, and just the world. Like Dragon Quest games do such a good job of giving a sense of exploration, and the world of Erdrea is really well done, and just every area is very unique and distinct, and it feels like you're traveling the world. Like I like traveling in my real life too, right? And Dragon Quest games do a good job of like, this town is themed after like Ireland. This one, this country is Japan. Like, you know what I mean? Like it does a really good job with
that's
that.
how 14 does it too.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's got everything I love about JRPGs and gaming in general. So that's why I like it. And the story's fucking incredible.
Favorite movie?
My favorite movie, and it's been a while since I talked about favorite movies because, like we said, we don't really watch a lot of movies.
Yeah.
My favorite movie is John Carpenter's Escape from New York. Greatest fucking movie of all time. I used to watch it quite frequently. I haven't seen it in years now. But
not a bad choice. So I have one specifically, but I have another that is right up there with it. So I would say that my favorite movie of all time is probably Tommy Boy.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I grew up on that movie. I love the humor in it, even though like it's obviously like juvenile, like
the best kind of humor.
Right, like it's juvenile humor. It's, you know, like it's just one of the best movies of all time, and like you can't help but quote it, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like when he's at the gas station and he tries to back the car up and he accidentally knocks the door off.
Oh yeah, it just folds.
And he puts it back on, and Richard goes to get in the car and he closes the door and it just falls off. And he's like, "What'd you do?" It's just
what'd you do?
Every fucking time, dude, I fucking die when I watch that movie. It's like when the M&Ms go in the dash. And he's like, that really ups the resale value. And he's like, I think you're going to be all right. They got a thick candy shell on them. And he's like, I think your brain has a thick candy shell on them.
Yeah,
dude, I fucking love that movie. It's one of my
Chris Farley's the best.
Oh yeah, like
comedy wise.
I think
have you seen Beverly Hills Ninja?
Oh yeah, so. Dude, Beverly Hills Ninja is awesome. Fuck, I love that movie too. Dude, my other one though is probably oh man, I just thought of another one. So Karate Kid is up there.
Oh, that's a good one.
Karate Kid, Tommy Boy, and Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, see, dude, my friends make fun of you for this all the time. I've never seen Dumb and Dumber. I've still never seen it.
Dude, what? Are you fucking kidding me?
I've seen like little bits and parts. And it's always the same part. They're like in a hotel. There's like a suitcase, and then they get on a scooter, and he pees his pants or whatever, and they like get froze together, and it's like boogers froze to his face.
Oh my god,
that's the only part I've ever seen.
Oh my god, dude, you have to watch the movie.
Someday I will.
Dude, no, your assignment is to watch the movie. That's your new assignment.
And the thing is, like, there's a lot of people that don't like Jim Carrey or his type of comedy, but maybe not in some of his newer stuff, but I love like that 90s era Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah,
fucking tier, man.
Dude, 90s comedy was like the best.
Yeah. But like Ace Ventura When Nature Calls, The Mask, like those are such fucking great fucking comedy movies.
Well, and like it's funny because like, you know, like you said, Jim Carrey now. Probably not my favorite actor. Used to be though. Like used to be one of my favorites. Liar Liar, Dumb and Dumber. You know, like you can't go wrong. Like they're all classics back then. Ace Ventura, like that campy kind of ironic humor of the 90s was so great, man. Like
I like The Mask because it's got like a couple different elements going too. Like it's a comedy, but it's also kind of like this fucked up like superhero movie at the same time.
Billy Madison's another good one. Chris Farley was in that for a bit.
Oh yeah, Billy Madison.
Yeah,
that's a good one too.
I think like that whole like Saturday Night Live crew, like David Spade, you know,
that whole era.
Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, like they all are legendary from that era.
Yeah,
So
they really are.
I think you could probably
Adam
interchange.
Sandler sucks now, like past that era, but like Happy Gilmore was fucking gold. I would say that his last good movie was like that 8 Crazy Nights. That was really good.
See,
The
I thought his
animated
last best movie was probably his live action movies anyway was That's My Boy.
Oh yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I remember that. I did see that one.
I have not liked a single one of his Netflix movies at all.
Click is probably the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Never seen it. Don't care to.
Yeah, don't watch it. It was fucking terrible.
But yeah, I think you could take like almost any comedy movie from the 90s and interchange it, and I would say that I'd be okay with that being my favorite movie.
It's super obscure, but I love it. Have you ever seen, I think it's called Snowboard Club or something like that?
It sounds familiar.
And it's about these, like, it's like a ski hill, and this guy, his dad or whatever, owns the ski hill, but his dad dies. And then this chick is played by, I think, Bridget Nielsen and her husband or whatever are going to take over the ski hill. But there's like a bunch of these like snowboard. I think it's called maybe Snowboard Academy. I'm going to have to look this up. But the whole thing, and this is like the clichéest fucking snowboard movie ever, because it's like South Park and everything rips on it. Because it's like, in order to save the fucking hill,
they have to race the Aspen episode.
Yeah, they have to. The snowboard team has to race the skier.
I didn't know that's.
Yeah,
I didn't know that's what that was about.
I think it's Snowboard Academy, and it's so good. It's like, so there's like they're basically like ski instructors, like, and snowboard instructors.
Yeah,
and there's this one foreign exchange student chick that they're always trying to help because she's like super smoking hot. And anyways, they're like talking, and then she comes in from the side and she's like, "Hello, I want to go to Mount Apenis." And they're like, excuse me? And then she's like, "I want to go to Mount Apenis." And then he's like, "Oh, Mount Happiness." The name of one of the, it's got Jim Varney as one of the, like, you know how like the big ski mountains always have like a lookout tower and stuff. Yeah. He's that guy, and he's only got one eye. It's like, oh man, I want to watch that now because I kind
of want to watch that now too, because I didn't realize that was what South Park was riffing on.
Yeah, just like that cliche, we have to win the snowboard race to save the hill and get the girl.
Yeah, I mean, I think that cliche has been around like in a lot of stuff.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so that's funny. Favorite TV show?
God, I don't even know.
No one, and I mean no one, is gonna expect what my answer is.
I don't watch a lot of TV, man. Probably Star Trek, honestly. Like, if I had to,
I could see that.
I would say, yeah, Star Trek.
My favorite TV. Now, this is not counting anime. We can do anime here in a second, but favorite live action TV show would probably have to be Alf.
Dude, there's a guy in my Discord that just fucking loves Alf.
Dude, Alf is so great, dude. It's oh my god, it's one of the greatest shows ever.
What's funny is it as a kid, but I don't remember anything about it. Saved by the Bell was like super popular too. But I don't remember if the quality really stuck around on.
No, it's gonna sound weird because like obviously I watched like Alf and stuff, and like so I've watched old TV shows. I think Saved by the Bell was more like my sister's thing.
Okay.
Than it was mine.
Well, yeah, how old are you?
I'm 32.
Okay, you're not that much younger than me then. I'm 36, I think.
So, but yeah,
born in 87. Math it out. I am bad at it.
Yeah, you're 36.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say though that like Alf is my favorite show of all time.
I'd love to get baked and rewatch Alf. I think that'd be fucking awesome.
Dude, we should do that one night in Discord.
We should. Did you ever hear like any of the behind the scenes stuff from Elf? Have you ever heard any of it?
No, but have you seen the movie?
No, I heard it's really fucking weird.
It's really good, dude. It's really good. Oh god, dude.
I heard it's like super weird compared to like the show, like completely almost different.
It's more adult.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's way more adult, like the humor and stuff like that. But it's so good, dude. It's so funny.
No, I've never seen it.
The first like 10 minutes of the movie are some of the funniest fucking shit.
I've heard it. Isn't it like the military's like after him or some shit? Or
Right.
not?
So the family like turns him in finally after all those years.
Really?
Because they couldn't take it anymore. And so like he gets taken for testing and stuff like that. And then like but he has all like the amenities he wants, like popcorn and like he gambles with the guards and like there's all this stuff that he does, dude. Right? Well, there's a joke in there about how like I don't know if you know what saltpeter is, but it's basically like a arousal suppressant. Anyway, he makes a joke like he's like, "Get me the pizza or whatever it is," and he's like, "Hold the saltpeter. I'm not trying to go through that again," or something like that. You know? God. So it's like stuff like that, right? It's funny. It's a really funny movie. I totally recommend it. I think you should watch it and Dumb and Dumber.
I would have to watch. I think I would want to rewatch all of Elf before I watch the movie.
Right,
that's fucking hilarious, dude.
Yeah, it's funny as fuck.
The behind the scenes stuff. The guy that played the dad would like straight up lose his mind and like be strangling the puppet because apparently the guy that would play the puppet was just a wise ass all the time, and so like they'd be like in between cuts, and the guy playing Elf, the puppeteer and vocalist or whatever, would be just like shit talking like the family members and stuff like that, and apparently he would just snap. He would get so mad.
I think if I remember right, it's either Family Ties or Alf where the unfortunately the daughter or sister character, I think in real life she ended up getting like anorexia or something like that.
Shit.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but like I think that's one of the behind the scenes things for Alf, if I remember right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You told me your favorite show. What's your favorite anime of all time?
Oh, that's a tough one. I say that like I've got like a fucking massive, vast collection of anime that I've seen, but I'm a big Gundam fan, so I gotta go with Zeta Gundam. It's just so fucking good. It's the perfect sequel to Mobile Suit Gundam, and it's really fucking good. Dragon Ball would be up there, like original Dragon Ball, Cowboy Bebop.
I was kind of surprised that Dragon Ball wasn't your first answer.
Yeah, I think I gotta go with Zeta Gundam though, if I had to pick just one.
I would say probably Dragon Ball Z is my most like watched one. Yeah. Outlaw Star might be my favorite though.
Really? Hey, I tried to get into that one, but I watched it after Cowboy Bebop, and it was really hard to. Cowboy Bebop's so good.
It is so good.
And Outlaw Star just feels like a big, to me anyways, because I saw it after, felt like a big step down, and it felt like it was trying to be Cowboy Bebop. But keep in mind, I haven't seen like a lot of anime, right? So when I got two that are so similar like that,
right,
it felt like I was just always comparing and always preferring Cowboy Bebop. The only anime I've seen really is like those early like 90s, like Ghost in the Shell, Ninja Scroll, stuff like that, right?
Hunter x Hunter's up there for me.
Oh yeah, you said that one. It's
Berserk 1997's up there. Yeah, I would say it's probably Dragon Ball Z and Outlaw Star are my two favorites.
Did you ever watch Fist of the North Star?
I did not.
I wonder if you would like that. It was like the shonen anime before Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z took off. And it's like kind of Mad Maxian, but with like fighting, like
I've seen it. I mean, I haven't watched it, but I've seen it.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of it, and it's kind of good, but kind of not the greatest quality. But I was just figured I wondered if you would like something like that one maybe. But
I would put JoJo up there, but the problem with JoJo is that like season 1's okay, season 2's super good, season 3 is season 4 is probably the best out of all of it, and then season 5 and 6 are kind of So it's like
the highs are really high, but the lows are
right. Like it's still bad. JoJo is still better than a lot of modern anime, but it's still not comparing to part 2 and part 4.
You know what I hate, and I just had to bring it up now. Fucking like I think we talked about a little bit maybe the whole sub versus dub crowd,
Yeah.
where it's like, bro, first of all, you probably don't know Japanese, so you don't actually know if that voice actor is any better. All right? And like, I don't know, the dubs are fucking great, but I just can't stand when people are like,
Yeah, this
well,
isn't
the
this
dub,
this
the
isn't
sub
the
is far
yeah.
superior in every single way. The voice actors just have a lot more emphasis and play the character much more relatable to the manga, the original manga context of the character.
The artist's original intention.
Yeah, when he was drawing the character, that is the voice he pictured in his mind.
You know what I love about that though too is that they'll say, "Oh, well, sub is better than dub." Okay, but you're listening to it in Japanese, but you're reading it in English. So it's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
like the voices matter
Yeah.
in Japanese, like because you don't understand it, you have to read it, and then you're still getting the English version
Exactly.
of the show.
And
it's like,
now that I know Japanese, the fucking subtitles don't always match up with what they're saying.
right. Well, it's localization and translation stuff like that. So
Yeah,
or like
that shit annoys me.
yeah, I feel you. I'm the same way. I don't understand either. Like,
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I decided to say that, but that shit always drives me crazy.
because we talked about anime, which would have probably been an okay conversation to have last episode, but
yeah.
So we're gonna wrap this up here with the last 3 questions. We're just gonna go rapid fire. What game did you put the most amount of hours into? Mine was Final Fantasy 14 at over 2,000.
Okay, do non-MMO as well though.
Okay, Final Fantasy 10.
Oh, okay. So MMO, Star Trek Online. I think I'm well over like 600 hours now, but I've been playing since 2010. Offline, I think Rogue Galaxy on the PS2. I had over 302 hours in that game.
Really?
There's a post-game dungeon, the Ghost Ship. Like the game itself is pretty long. I want to say it was like 90 some hours. And then, have you ever played it or heard of it?
Yeah, I've played it.
Okay, like the whole Insectron thing, like with the bug battles. So I of course I used to be a completionist until I started streaming. So I used to like if I picked up a fucking game, I had to like 100% it all the time. So I had like all the 7-star swords, I had all the items, I had every Insectron type possible. And the last Insectron that you can get is there's the post game dungeon. It's like a 300 floor ghost ship dungeon or whatever with a boss fight every 10th floor, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the last Insectron is sitting on like the captain's chair, so you have to set a bug trap on the captain's chair. So I did that, and it was like over 300 hours.
Yeah, I've put 333 hours into Elden Ring, so I feel you.
Holy fuck!
Yeah. What is your favorite YouTube channel?
I gotta go with my boy David Vink.
I wonder. I wondered if
I watch like super consistently. That and MMA on Point. Do you watch their videos at all?
No, I don't think so.
They do really good like MMA top 10 videos and stuff.
So I would say my 2 favorite YouTube channels are probably Super Eye Patch Wolf. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Oh, yeah.
And Donkey.
Oh yeah, Donkey would be up there. That same, like he's also one of those guys that as soon as he posts a new video, I like immediately watch it as soon as I can. Yeah.
What is your biggest fear?
Scorpions and monkeys.
Monkeys? What?
Dude, they will rip the flesh from your face. Dude.
That's true. That's actually true. They are very aggressive.
Oh, dude. And then I saw a fucking video on Instagram, and it was this lady, like, the monkey was, like, right up against... She was, like, at the zoo, and it was, like, bars, and the lady was, like, right up against the bars. What?
Did you just see the hand motion you were doing?
What was I doing? Oh, the monkey was right up against the bars. And the lady was like, oh, look, I'm going to give him a treat or something. And she like reached towards the monkey. and the monkey reached out and fucking grabbed her shirt and pulled her into the bar and then grabbed her fucking leg. And she was like lifted off the ground, and it was a fucking orangutan, and it's fucking pulling on her, man. and one of the zoo guys had to like grab onto her body and like fucking pull her away from this monkey who was trying to just rip her in half. It's like, dude, this shit happens all the time. Fuck monkeys. Those things are terrifying.
Oh, okay, Frieza.
I also saw the movie Outbreak when I was really young, and it's about like a fucking monkey zombie psycho.
Yeah, I
virus.
remember. I've seen it.
Yeah, so that might be a big part of it too.
So my biggest fear is spiders. And the reason is because when I was like, oh man, I had to have been like 5 or 6. I woke up to go to the bathroom and I pulled the blanket back and there was a spider sitting on my chest and it fucking freaked me out, dude. And ever since then, I fucking hate spiders.
It's weird because like, first of all, scorpions are basically spiders with armor and weapons. but anyways, it's weird. It's weird how like I can have an ant crawling on me and I don't really care. But if I have a spider crawling on me, like I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like I'm not terrified. Like if there's a spider in the room, I could give a fuck. If there's a scorpion in the room, I'm fucking getting out of the room. Like I'm terrified of scorpions. We don't have scorpions here, so I don't even know what the fucking protocol is if there's a scorpion in the room. But yes, I don't like spiders, but I'm not like I would like just go and squish it. You know what I mean?
See, my parents also liked that movie Arachnophobia.
I remember my dad liked that,
and that movie freaked me the fuck out. Or do you remember? Or the spoof movie? It didn't freak me out.
Eight-legged freaks.
Eight-legged freaks.
That was
yeah,
so good, dude.
Yeah, that was good. But as much as I would love to go to Australia, I don't think I ever could. Because,
I don't think I could either,
dude. Everything there kills you.
Yeah, from like fucking everything there kills you.
Like it's like, I'm good. I don't really want to go there as much as I'd love to.
Yeah,
I prefer life.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, this has been a pretty long episode. This was our comfort game / Q&A episode. Thank you for bringing up all these questions. We really enjoyed answering them. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Look forward to this. And look forward to episode 8 where we do Final Fantasy 8 on the podcast finally. I might replay it a little bit to try to kind of refresh myself, or at least watch like a refresh video or something like that.
Yeah.
But again, I want to thank you guys all for the support on the podcast. It's been awesome. Over 150 plays on Spotify and iTunes and all your combined platforms and stuff. And the 10 5-star ratings on Spotify.
YouTube's been sitting around 300-ish, for all of them, I think.
Yep, the last episode wasn't as great. It was about 160, 170. But, these things build over time. So, and it wasn't necessarily an episode where I think a lot of people would be like, oh, I'm searching for this. So,
Yeah.
This has been fun. We really enjoyed doing your questions. And don't forget to check us out on all platforms: Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube right here on my channel. And all of our socials are in descriptions and attached to the Spotify sites and stuff like that. So definitely check us out on social media, interact with us. We'd love to hear from you guys outside of the podcast. And don't forget to share, leave us a rating if you would. And that's about all I got.
Yeah, have a good one, guys. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We always appreciate you guys.
Yep. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Later, guys.
See ya.